Welcome to Weapon Blueprint, the weekly series where I, Gasoline Based, take you through every weapon in TF2 and put them up for review for your pleasure. This time we're taking a look at one of the most powerful weapons in the game. It's the Brass Beast. Let's see what ancient crap I'm gonna blabber about in this episode. This video consists of 3 sections. The first section covers the history of the weapon, both in the real world as well as in the TF2 universe, and the appearance of the weapon, often related to the history of it. The second section talks about the stats and gameplay mechanics that the weapon provides. There will be made comparisons with both stock weapons and other unlocks, as well as in-depth analysis of the damage and timers that the weapon provides. The third section opens discussion about beneficial strategies using the weapon, featuring gameplay of the weapon itself. This section is open to discussion, as I can only speak my own opinion, so feel free to express your opinion in the comment section below the video. Brass is a man-made metallic alloy made of copper and zinc combined in the formula Cu3Cn2. Brass has been found dating back to 1000 years BC and is still being used today. It's used for instruments, pipes, ornaments, locks, watches, gunmetal, doorknobs, and of course, rapid custom-tooled cartridges firing 150 kg weighing miniguns used by large Russian stereotypes fighting over gravel during the early 1970s. The Brass Beast is inspired by the original Gatling gun by Richard Gatling, and since brass was often used during the industrialization for weapons, which is when the Gatling gun was invented, it was given the brass look. The Brass Beast is a primary weapon for the heavy weapons guy, replacing his trusty minigun Sasha. The Brass Beast is a much more powerful minigun, but also a lot slower. The raw stats tell us that it has a 20% damage bonus, however, it spins up 50% slower and you walk 60% slower when the minigun is spun up. The Brass Beast can deal up to 650 damage per second point blank, while the minigun is only capable of a maximum of 540. On long range, however, the split is 75 damage for the minigun and 90 for the Brass Beast, evening out the field a little. The Brass Beast really lives up to its nickname, the Mobile Sentry. The player acts very much like a sentry, with slower deploy speed, close to no movement speed, but a ton of damage. And it shouldn't come as a big surprise, moral, that this is a weapon focusing heavily, pun intended, on defensive measures. It's a terrible weapon for offense, because you constantly move the battle forward on maps like Payload. It's also bad for maps where the front line is changing, like 5CP or King of the Hill. However, it shines on attack, defense, and on payload. If you insist on using this weapon in an offensive payload map, a good tip is to put yourself in front of the card. That way you can spin up and you will still be moving at a reasonable pace because the card will be pushing you. Using it defensively as it is designed to be will grant you a larger bonus than you think. First of all, playing defensively negates the downside of the weapon a bit. You don't need to be moving a lot and the enemy has to come to you, so you can stay spun up and just stay out of sniper sidelines. If you're spun up, you're guaranteed to win any heavy 1v1 fights with no advantage. This means that sending just a heavy for you will not be enough. This weapon doesn't directly chew up more ammo than stock, but because you're less likely to roam around, getting the occasional ammo pack is easier said than done. It's often a good idea to settle down near an engineer's dispenser or around a medium ammo pack. Note that this weapon is extraordinary on crits because of the damage bonus, and can actually be used to snipe across the map because of the damage bonus. In conclusion, this weapon is great for digging in near sentry or a central objective and locking down an area. It makes the natural counters to heavy like spy snipers more dangerous, but at the same time minimizes the threat from any other class. Restrictive movement speed can, however, take a lot of the fun out of the experience, as being effective is not always the most entertaining. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Weapon Inspection. Now, I would like your help to pick next week's weapon, and all you have to do is click the weapon you would like, and the one that gets the most votes will be featured in the next week's episode. That's all for now. If you want to be notified when a new episode is out, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Gasoline Based.